Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick and welcome back to another video. Now, we are on a completely new chapter. We are going to be done talking about all the colorful things from the toffee flower, the wool, carpet, glass, concrete, terracotta, and candles. That's all we're going to be doing for that chapter. Now it's time to move on to the next one, and this next chapter is going to be about trees, woods, and generation and stuff like that. Today, we are only going to be making two things. We're going to be making the wood and the leaves. That's it. And so to start things off, let's grab some of our most basic block. Let's grab the skulk sponge for a moment, and we are going to call this dark log. And then down here, we're going to call it again dark log. And then this is going to be a pillar block because logs have the same texture on four sides and not on the top and bottom. They're the wood piece. So material dot, and then this is going to say wood, not wool. There is a very big difference. And what makes well, that's the only thing that really makes it special is the fact that it's a pillar block. So from here we can control D, and then this is going to be really interesting. So we're going to have the dark leaves as well. So we're going to copy it down here, Leaves, and then these are going to be a leaves block. Now here, we're going to have the fabric copy of, and then we're going to say leaves. And then from here, we're going to do dot suffocates. And then we're going to do mod blocks dot. Why does it only let me do the dark log? Because we're only supposed to be calling the class. And then we're going to do : never. That was struggle in my mind. So basically, if you are stuck in the leaves block, let's say you are riding a horse, if your head gets in the leaves block, you will not start suffocating from it. So that is something that is important. Another one is called block vision. Same thing. If you happen to be riding a horse, you will no longer be able to see through the block. So if we call this mod blocks : never, this will not block your vision. We've already explained this in previous videos when we talked about the block item settings. So that is just a quick refresher on what they do or what they are for, but that is the only thing that we really need to implement for them. From here, there is something special I want to mark about the leaves block, is that it says that if the distance is equal to 7, it's going to decay, and I'm trying to see if I can find the tags for it, because distance from log, if the state is blocks, if the distance is 7 from the block tags logs, then it's going to do its decay thing. So I don't, I could probably look at how it exactly says that. I just know that's how that works. So we need to make sure that if the distance of 7, distance from the log is from 0. So here we're going to go into Minecraft, the tags, blocks, and then it says it's called logs. So let's look up logs. Oh. We're just going to keep going. Log. There it is. Logs. And then we also have logs that burn. I'm just going to... We're just going to go with... since this calls logs that burn, we're going to put it in here. And then we're going to do colon and then HMH3, and then we're going to call this the dark log. So now when this spawns a tree, the leaves will no longer decay when it gets spawned. Coming in with the data generator, we are going to need a model, and with this model, the only one that we're going to cube on all sides is going to be the leaves, the dark leaves. For the loot table generator, we are going to have the dark log, and then we're going to add the sapling in a future video. but no, I'm not gonna add it for now. We're just gonna make the leaves drop something later. So from here we can go into, but we are gonna, even though the dark log has a loot table, it doesn't have a model, so we are gonna have to do add the block states and stuff like that for the log. So best thing you can do, Minecraft, day assets, Minecraft block states, and then here we can look up a log. It'll bring us all the logs. It doesn't really matter which one, so we're gonna put it in our thing. We're gonna call it dark log. And then from here, because it's a pillar, it's basically saying what direction are you in, but it's going to be causing ACA, CIA. It's going to look for which way are you looking, dark log, and since the model is different, so it's going to rotate the texture based on which way you are facing. So I think that's pretty cool. And so they call it dark log horizontal and the regular dark log. So that is the two models that we're going to be dealing with, but they both come from one texture. So if we go into model and block, so let's come down here, and then we're going to go to models, block, and then once again, let's look up log. All right, for some reason, the log was not in my official folder, so I'm just going to have to drag it up from here. No big deal. It's whatever. So here we're going to call the dark log, and then Control F, and then we are going to have, once again, dark log. Now, even though it's going to know how to rotate the texture, we are still going to have two textures, the top and then the actual log on the sides. And here it says the ends and the sides, so that's a good way to put it out. We can quickly grab the other one, acacia log horizontal. Stop right there, and then we're going to call this the drac dark log horizontal. Same thing, copy these, call it the dark log, and then I made a mistake. If you know what it is, hopefully you know what I did. We're gonna look up Minecraft, select all, and HMH3, and we're gonna do that again in these. So if you picked that up, if you picked it up before I did, then congratulations. Don't change that top one. So what I do is I Control F, click the top one, and then I believe you hit plus for all the ones after that. Then you can select all of. Come on, don't do this to me. Not while I'm. I don't think I select all, because if I select all, that selects all. So don't select it. Just start typing HMH3, and it'll change once you pressed all of them. All right. That one made me a little self-conscious. All right. And then the items. Um, let's see if these are here. So if we got the acacia log, there we go. And then here we can pull up the dark log, in which we can call it HMH3 block dark log. Now that all our models and block states are in, let's make a lang file for the blocks we just made. So we're going to Control D, and then we put in that comma. All right, and then we're going to have the dark log, and then we're going to do it again here in dark log, comma, Control D, get rid of that last one, leaves, and then dark leaves. Did I make it plural on the other ones in the block? It should be plural. I did. Okay, good. That would have caused a mistake for later. So now we have the blocks, lang, models. So it looks like all we're going to need now is the textures. I'm very excited to know that we are in this brand new chapter of just the trees and stuff, because it is the one right before we get to the last chapter that I'm going to be doing, which is the advanced chapter. So this is the precursor to generation, and this is just everything to do with trees, logs, slabs, stairs, trapdoors, fences, walls. We're going to be making a lot of that stuff in this chapter. It's all of that basic stuff. But in the very beginning, I'm not talking about the generation at the end. This is the only one where we're going to talk at the beginning, and that's just because trees are unique. It's not the fact that they generate. It's the fact that they regenerate. It's the fact that they have a cycle. If I plant a flower and flowers generate, you don't regenerate them. There's no new ways to get them. If I generate an ore in the world, there's no new way to get that ore back in the world. But trees, because they're replantable and they have that little life cycle, it becomes a little bit difficult and they're more complicated. But even out of this complication, I am excited that 1.19 has added this into the game, into data generation. So we're going to talk about a lot of these new files. I am already have looked through all of them briefly. Um, Very excited with how they're going, and I think that the way that they've done it now is a lot easier than the bootstrap that we had to do in the past. We're still going to have to use it for the next video, but these first three videos are going to be pretty tight. This first one's kind of easy, but if you're not used to looking at data and you don't understand how configured and placed features work, that is okay. It is perfectly fine. Through experience and time, it is just something that you just start to get and you just kind of understand it as you go. The second video is going to be talking about the coding way, and we literally only have to do that for the sapling. So once we get that sapling in there, there is no other reason why we would ever need to look at it ever again. But beyond that, I mean, hopefully, I mean, everything goes well. And then I think there's the third thing I was going to say. Oh, the third video. Third video is just, it's not going to be hard work. It's just, there is just so much to do and to catch up on because of how I wanted to separate these two videos. Originally, I was going to have them be one video, but I wanted to make a difference to explain that there is something different between how data works and then how regeneration works when coding. So I decided not to put the sapling in the video and have it be its own video because of just how unique the files it's touching are just completely unique. It's so different than the generation. So this is just the basics. This is the very basics, and I felt like that was a very good start to include in for this. But without that kind of spiel out of the way, I'm going to get into another one at the very end of the video. But for now, let's just get back to the video and let's take a look at those data files. And then just because leaves have some pixels that are have holes in them, we are going to have to go into our client and then we are going to have to do the render.get cutout for it. So we're going to do the dark leaves, so that will cut it out. And then making sure that our block, so if it has the dot suffocates, so I believe that you're supposed to put dot non-opaque, and that's practically that. Now, the only thing that we have left to do is something that we've never really looked at before in the past, and I'm going to tell you that this is something that is completely new. And so now we have the log and the leaves. This is exactly what we need. But if I open the world, it's only going to be in our inventory, and there's no real way to really access them. So how do I get them to generate? Well, generally, I'm going to show you another way how to do it in the next video. But if you want a quick way to do so, to have them generating in our world, let's go into data inside the Minecraft and look at the worldgen file. worldgen is going to have two things that is in your configured features, and then the other thing is going to be your placed features. These are the two most common things that you're going to want to find. If you want to copy them, you can go simply back to, if I close all this, you're going to see all this yarn, 1, 2, and it's going to be the third one. It'll say assets.com, data, meta, and net. You can always go in your data, Minecraft, and your worldgen down here. So if you want to copy this, you can. No problems there. When it comes down to configured and placed, those, like I said, the configured feature, not the carver, those are the main building blocks of everything that we're going to be doing. But let's take a look at the biome. So if I want this to generate in a biome, I have to think to myself, what biome do I want this to generate in? If I said a dark forest, because these are dark leaves, um, this might be a little bit overhand, but we're gonna see that there is a bunch of there's your air stuff, some of the effects, your features, and features is what we're looking for basically. And here I believe there are 11 brackets because there are 11 types of features, and not everything has something in them, so it depends on what biome you're looking at. But this is basically everything that will generate underground. We'll talk about that later. This is interesting. Uh, there's special details, spring water, spring lava. They're like the little lakes. This is stuff that generates in the world that is like your special decorations, your trees, your flowers. These is what we're looking for. And in here we have forest flowers, dark forest vegetation, and in here, this dark forest vegetation, this is mainly what we're looking for. So um, let's go back and because dark forest vegetation is what's going to have trees in them. You know, you wouldn't want to put trees, your flowers, your flower default, your patch grass. You know, it just makes sense to make it your vegetation. So now let's look up in our configured. Let's look up for dark forest vegetation and open that. And then here we have everything that we want. It's got a random selector, default oak checked, and then here we have the features. So features is the big thing that we're looking for, and here we have our chance. So there's a small chance that birch will go. We have our dark oak checked by its feature. When going into this, we'll keep this open, but we're seeing how this is that dark oak checked, right? And if I look up the dark oak checked here, you'll notice that it doesn't look like it's coming up because here there's only dark oak and dark oak vegetation. So already it seems like there is a problem. Let's go into our place features, however, and let's look up dark oak checked, and suddenly there is one in here. So in here it is talking about the dark oak sapling, and we don't have a sapling. We just have the blocks and the wood, and this isn't necessarily what we're looking for. Let's try, and even though dark oak vegetation is what we want, but what kind of tree do we want to put in here? If I go back into the configured feature, and I said I wanted, because we copied an oak tree, just a regular oak tree. So we have fancy oak, and then here is all of the fancy stuff for fancy oak. We can simply just take this, because if I have like the dark oak vegetation that's here, um, we can take a look actually in our placed features, and then let's look up the oak, fancy oak. And here we have, this has got this in it, this has this in it, these. So if we have like fancy down here, this is perfectly fine. It has, but notice how, like, even for this, it's saying that it's coming up from the feature, the Minecraft Fancy Oak Bees. So when it's talking about the feature in this up here, it's talking, in placed is talking about configured. Oop, yeah, placed is talking about configured. So if we were to copy this one specifically, we would need to make a copy of this in here first. So let's think of exactly what is that we want before we get into it. So even though there is that dark stuff that we're looking for, the dark forest vegetation, dark oak checked, we're going to be making, I would say one without bees. So let's see if we can find an oak tree. Yeah, so these are bees, bees, bees checked. And then this is feature.oak. So looking directly at just what oak is in the configured feature, so we have our configured feature and we look into oak because we just want a regular oak tree. We don't need these ones with the bees in them. It says that the type is a Minecraft tree, so we don't actually have to initialize anything at all. But let's take this, and I was literally gonna call this dark oak and then realize that there is a dark oak. So let's call this black oak because it's super dark. And then from here, we can call everything that is. So here we have Minecraft tree, this, dirt, blah. We're looking for like stuff like the leaves. And so this is where we're going to want to call this as HMH3. And we're going to call this the dark leaves. And then two layers, straight trunker, this, and then here it is again. HMH3, and then this is going to be dark log. So now we have something that is in our configured feature. We have a dark tree. Really, that's what this is. Um, the black oak, and then we're gonna need this in our placed features. So in our placed features, if we look up the dark oak, actually no, not dark oak. Let's look up just regular oak. And then here we have oak and oak checked. Now, personally, I'm not really too sure in this case why I would need both oak and oak checked, because they are in this case they are literally, if I flip between them, they are literally the same. So we're just going to copy oak in this case, and then we are going to call this one simply black oak, and then we're going to say okay. And then this is going to come from the feature Minecraft, and it is going to stay Minecraft because we took it from the Minecraft configured feature and kept it in there. And then we're going to call this the black oak. So in this case, when we're messing with data like this, we're basically pretending to be Minecraft as we add Minecraft stuff. And then it is taking the placement as if it was an oak sapling. That is perfectly fine. So now that we have our black oak in here, let's go in our place features, and if we look up the dark oak vegetation, what we're basically putting this in, we'll notice that it's got the vegetation and then the placement, and all of a sudden it's saying that we need to put this in a biome, and and there's a count 16, so it's going to try and place this 16 times. So when we're talking about the placed features, placed is what is actually being like placed in the world, sort of. So here our black oak is trying to place this Minecraft black oak tree, which is basically coming from an oak sapling, while configured is how is it, what are its pieces, right? So when we look up the dark forest vegetation, it's saying coming from this feature, the dark forest vegetation, what pieces do you have from configured, and this is how we want to place them. Now, we don't want to add extra placing if we're just putting stuff in here. So if I go back up into configured, our black oak, these are the pieces, right? So we got the dark oak, and then we also have the dark leaves, and then if I go into the dark forest vegetation, and then we come into here, it's going to say, hey, do you have the checked, and stuff like that. And then there are your chances. And then from here, we have, because there are all these chances in here, the highest one is the dark oak checked. And if I just kind of squeeze this in here, Control C, and then we're going to copy this, the chances of this happening are basically 2/3. And then from here, we're going to call this what we asked. So this would just simply be Minecraft dark oak, and then we're going to call this black oak. And we don't have to call the checked version. If you copy the checked version, keep it checked. If you copy the not checked version, don't keep it checked. Because like I said earlier, they're literally the same file. If you want to be more technical, yes, you could call the checked one. But in this case, it literally doesn't matter. So for simplicity's sake, you don't have to put in the checked. From here, what we basically did is we said add the tree that we made and put it into this configuration. And now with this configuration, it is now going to be placed by chance, and it's going to be placed by chance into the placement features, right? And then this is once again called, if I go into, most importantly, because it said put it into a biome, into the dark, what was it, the dark forest. So now if we look up, all right, I apologize that the video got literally stuck on that loading screen, and everything I did you could not see. It's done this before in the past, and I hate it. Basically, I'm just gonna have to redo the very last end of the video part. So one thing, I made a mistake. I know I opened the world, run the data generation first, and then run the client. Literally, that was the only mistake I had made. And then the other thing that I was explaining was that when we were talking about in our configured features are the pieces to make our placed features. Our placed features are placed where they're told to, right? And so in our dark forest vegetation, it says put it in a biome basically. And that part, this is the part where I said I was starting to kind of like I cut off on. Dark forest is basically saying, oh, here it is. So now we have the pieces that we made. They are configured together, and they are part of this configuration. So they will generate in this biome because we attached it to that. Let us generate the world, and hopefully it will not get stuck on the loading screen. And then I'm gonna double check it just in case. All right, here we are in our beautiful Minecraft world. I was about to change myself into creative and then realized I'm already in it. So here we have our trees generating. I had to use the slash locate. If you don't know how to use the command, you can do slash locate biome and then look for the biome that we're looking for. We look for dark forest. Hit your little slash, click on it, hit enter, and it will teleport you to the location. 0 blocks away. I was already in it, but it will teleport you to what you're looking for. I decided to put these inside of the dark forest, but this is a pretty small dark forest actually. If you know that there is a biome here, let me show you another thing that you can do. I know that for slash locate a structure, and then the wood. Mansion. Okay, it's not called a woodland mansion, it's just called a mansion. Here we go. If I click on it, hit enter, it's going to teleport me to a mansion, which I know is in a much bigger forest, I would ever so hope. Yeah, there we go. And we have all our beautiful trees generating in here. All right. So, mainly, this was just a cheap, quick, easy way to get trees generating in your world. And we're going to talk about the most complicated tree generation you're ever going to see in the next video. Now, when we talk about world generation, when it comes to flowers and blocks, like ores and stuff like that, it's not going to be as complicated as the trees, so don't freak out. Trees are the most complicated thing, and it all comes down to the sapling. So the sapling is going to be in the next video after this, because in this, I can make the loot tables. Right now, I decided that it is going to be the third video in this chapter, not the first or second. This first video is showing you a quick way that you can make the leaves and the blocks, so the trees. And then I also want to show you the basic generation of how everything can be placed in the world and affected, because we have access to all the biomes in the Minecraft world. With that in mind, I mean, that's really, really cool, don't get me wrong. From there, a quick summary that I wanted to try and sum up was the fact that this is all new stuff. This was not possible in data generation. This was added in either just 1.19 or 1.19.3 specifically. Um, Either way, I mean, it's completely new. I am very familiar with data. Before I started modding, I worked with data for a long time. So if you have any questions on how like the data works, or if you're having troubles with data, I'll probably be able to help you a lot more than if you're actually having a coding issue. I prefer data because I consider data soft code. There are less problems that are likely to happen because they're not as hard coded and stuff like that. They're soft coded. That's one of the big differences I make between them. Um, but from this video, we have the trees. They generate. They look pretty. Um, but this this chapter is going to be a pretty big one concerning the trees, because they just do so many things and they're such a core part of the game. Um, Loot tables and stuff like that, recipes and all that. That's going to be third video. Major stuff. So I know that third video is going to be really big. This is just talking about generation, trees, like as a first, and then the next video is going to be all about saplings. So when we get there, we're going to get there. Don't you worry. But with that in mind, I'm excited. You have any problems? Don't worry. I'll answer them. I'll try and answer them to the best of my ability. I'm glad that we've gotten to where we have with data generation, and I hope that one day we'll be able to put saplings in there. Um, there might be a way to do it, but as of now, I just don't know how. But anyway, for now, that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,